Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. I'm really glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe today felt long and heavy, full of noise and unfinished thoughts. Or maybe you're simply the kind of person who enjoys falling asleep to gentle ideas about the universe, drifting through deep time instead of counting sheep. Either way, you're exactly where you need to be. For now, there's nothing you have to do. You don't need to focus. You don't need to remember anything. You don't need to stay awake. Just allow yourself to arrive here. Let your shoulders soften a little. Let your jaw unclench. Notice your breathing slowing on its own, without effort. Gravity can feel kinder at night, as if it's holding you more gently than usual. Tonight isn't about learning facts or understanding complicated ideas. It's about floating, about letting thoughts pass by like distant lights, appearing and fading without needing your attention. You can listen closely, or you can let the words blur into the background. Both are perfectly fine. The universe won't mind either way. As we move through this space together, the ideas will become larger, older, and slower. The universe is not in a hurry. Most of what happens out there unfolds over millions, even billions of years. Nothing important is happening right now. Nothing urgent is required of you. And there's something deeply comforting in that. You might imagine the universe as ancient and patient, like a quiet companion sitting beside you in the dark. It doesn't demand anything. It doesn't rush you forward. It simply exists, calmly and steadily, whether anyone is watching or not. Even now, galaxies drift, stars glow, and space stretches in silence without asking for your attention. If you like, this could be a good moment to lower the volume just a little. Maybe dim the lights or place your phone face down beside you. You don't have to listen all the way through. You don't have to stay conscious until the end. If sleep comes quickly, that's not missing out. That's exactly what this space is for. You're safe here. There's nowhere else you need to be. Nothing you need to solve. Just listen if you want, and rest if you need to. The universe will keep going quietly, whether you're awake to hear it or already dreaming. So let's begin, slowly, with a quiet thought about space itself. Most of the universe is quieter than we can imagine. When we picture space, we often think of stars scattered everywhere, filling the darkness with light. But in reality, almost everything out there is empty. Vast stretches of space lie between stars and galaxies, so wide that even light takes years to cross them. You could imagine a single grain of sand resting in the center of a cathedral-sized room, surrounded by nothing but still air. This emptiness isn't lonely or cold. It's gentle. It's like a cushion, giving everything room to breathe. Space doesn't crowd or rush. It allows things to exist calmly, far apart, without pressure, holding the universe open and quiet. Within that emptiness, there are small points of light, glowing patiently. Some of the light you might imagine above you tonight began its journey long before you were born. Starlight doesn't arrive quickly. It travels across space for years, centuries, sometimes thousands of years, before it finally reaches a distant world like ours. Looking up is a kind of quiet time travel. It's like receiving a postcard sent ages ago or hearing a whisper that's been crossing a valley for generations. The universe is never in a hurry to be seen. Time stretches gently, and nothing arrives late. Everything arrives exactly when it does. Those distant points of light belong to stars, and stars themselves live unthinkably long lives. They are born slowly, glow steadily, and fade with great patience. A star can shine for billions of years, far longer than civilizations, languages, or even continents last on Earth. Compared to a star's life, human time feels like a blink. Stars are patient beings. They burn like long-lasting candles, never flaring suddenly without reason. Their steady glow mirrors rest itself. Nothing about them is rushed. They simply continue, quietly doing what they've always done. Stars rarely exist alone. They gather into vast families called galaxies, each one containing billions of stars drifting together through space. Galaxies do move, but so slowly that across a human lifetime, they appear almost still. You might imagine boats drifting on a dark, endless ocean, or dancers moving in extreme slow motion. Even motion in the universe can feel like stillness. Galaxies wander, but they never rush. Change happens without stress, without urgency, and without noise. Within these galaxies lie some of the universe's most mysterious objects, including black holes. Often imagined as violent or destructive, many black holes are actually calm. They sit quietly, sometimes for millions of years, without dramatic activity. Not all black holes are storms. Some are more like sleeping whirlpools, or closed eyes resting in the dark. Even extremes in the universe are allowed to rest. Fear softens when seen from a distance, and silence becomes more powerful than motion. Holding all of this together is gravity, moving gently through space. Gravity doesn't act instantly. Changes in gravity travel at the speed of light, rippling outward like soft waves across a pond or a slow shiver through fabric. Even gravity takes its time. The universe communicates patiently, responding slowly and thoughtfully, never snapping or pulling without warning. Everything moves together through this quiet fabric, calm and steady, as if space itself is breathing. Space and time are not separate things. They are woven together into a single, quiet fabric, often called space-time. You can imagine it like a calm, dark blanket stretched gently across the universe, or soft silk slowly bending under a resting weight. Nothing snaps or tears, nothing is forced. This fabric is made to hold everything patiently. Planets, stars, and galaxies all rest within it, bending it just slightly as they pass. The universe doesn't feel rigid or sharp at its deepest level. It feels flexible, forgiving, and slow, as if it was designed to carry things gently rather than tightly. Moving across this fabric is light, steady, and unchanging. Light never hurries, and it never slows. No matter where it travels, it keeps the same pace, like a quiet metronome ticking softly in the background of existence. The universe keeps time with light, This constancy is comforting. While everything else may drift and evolve, light remains reliable, carrying messages across space with calm precision. Its journey is smooth and patient, never rushing to arrive. As light travels, it reveals itself through color. Color is simply how we sense light's energy, spreading into gentle shades like moonlight through thin clouds. Blues, reds, and golds are light whispering its mood. Every color is a quiet message, never shouted, never urgent. The universe communicates softly, layering meaning in subtle tones that blend rather than clash. Color doesn't demand attention. It simply exists, waiting to be noticed. Or not. Beyond those colors lies darkness, which is not something to fear. Darkness comes first. Most of the universe is dark, with light appearing only in scattered points, like lanterns floating on a vast night ocean. Light rests inside the dark, not the other way around. Darkness is the natural state of the universe, deep and velvety, providing space for rest. It is safety, not absence. A place where nothing presses in, perfect for stillness. Within this darkness, motion follows gentle rules. Planets and moons trace smooth, repeating paths called orbits, moving like slow waltzes across space. Nothing in the universe moves randomly for long. The universe prefers gentle patterns, circles drawn again and again. This repetition is reassuring. Cycles calm the mind, reminding everything where it belongs without needing constant correction. All of this creates remarkable stability. Our solar system has remained balanced for billions of years, like a perfectly hung mobile that never falls. Stones rest in harmony, each held in place by invisible understanding. Balance can last a very long time. Nothing here is about to fall. Nothing needs adjusting. This quiet stability invites trust, and trust makes rest come easily. The galaxy turns while we sleep. The Milky Way, our vast spiral of stars, is calmly spinning through space, completing a single rotation over hundreds of millions of years. Even spinning can feel still when it happens slowly enough. You might imagine a lazy spiral or a night sky carousel turning so gently that no one riding it would ever feel dizzy. This motion doesn't announce itself. It doesn't shake or stir. It simply continues, quietly, whether we notice it or not. Movement without awareness becomes a kind of peace, reminding us that not all motion demands attention. Somewhere inside that slow spiral, we are riding along. Earth itself is moving rapidly through space, orbiting the sun while the sun drifts through the galaxy. And yet, you don't feel any of it. Motion doesn't have to be felt to be real. It's like sitting on a smooth train at night, gliding forward without bumps or noise. You are moving faster than you think, but nothing about it is alarming. You are safe, even while traveling endlessly through the dark, carried by motions too gentle to disturb your rest. Part of what makes this journey so comfortable is Earth's atmosphere. This thin layer of air surrounds the planet like a soft shield, quietly protecting life from the harsher parts of space. It's a fragile layer doing a powerful job, filtering light, softening impacts, and holding warmth close. You are wrapped, even now, in this protective whisper. Protection doesn't need to be loud or thick to be effective. Sometimes the most important barriers are almost invisible, working silently while you sleep. Within this gentle covering, Earth maintains a carefully balanced temperature, not too hot, not too cold. Comfort exists on a cosmic scale here, like a perfectly adjusted dimmer switch or a long, warm twilight that never rushes into extremes. This balance is not guaranteed everywhere. It is a quiet kindness written into our planet's position and movement. Balance doesn't shout its presence. It simply allows things to be, calmly and consistently. Out in the wider universe, many planets may never know this kind of balance. Countless worlds likely exist in silence, without storms, without oceans, without life. Silent stones drifting through space. Untouched rooms in a vast, dark house. Most worlds are very quiet. Silence is common in the universe. And emptiness doesn't mean something is missing. It often means nothing is being demanded. Emptiness can be calm, open, and deeply restful. And in the middle of all this, Earth is not the center. It doesn't sit at a privileged position in the universe. Yet, that can feel comforting. We don't need to be the center for meaning to exist. Earth can be like one warm room in a vast building, or a single lit window glowing softly at night. Meaning doesn't require importance. Letting go of the need to be central releases pressure. It allows rest to come naturally, without significance, without expectation, just quietly being here. You don't need to hold all of this in your mind. It's okay if the facts begin to blur together, if ideas soften at the edges. That's a natural part of rest. Perspective itself is calming. Being small inside something vast removes pressure, like setting down a heavy bag you didn't realize you were carrying. You can gently check in with your body now. Let your jaw rest slightly open. Let your eyelids feel heavy. Notice your breathing, slow and even, moving in and out without effort. Nothing needs your attention. The universe continues unfolding calmly, even as your focus drifts. And when you're ready, you can let your awareness float outward again, back into the quiet openness of space. There may be no edge to space. As far as we can tell, the universe doesn't seem to end the way rooms do, with walls or clear boundaries. No matter how far we look, the horizon keeps moving farther away, like a foggy shoreline that never quite comes into view. This means there are no corners to be trapped in, no final borders pressing inward. Only openness. Space doesn't close around things. It stays wide, offering room to drift and breathe. The idea of endlessness can feel overwhelming at first, but it can also feel freeing. Nothing is boxed in. Nothing is confined. Everything exists with space around it. Within that openness, space itself is slowly expanding. Galaxies are gently moving farther apart over time, not rushing, not colliding, simply drifting away like raisins spreading through rising dough or ink slowly diffusing through water. Space stretches quietly, without urgency. This expansion doesn't demand attention. It happens whether we watch or not. Growth here is calm and patient, never sudden. Everything is gently moving away from everything else, creating even more room for stillness. Because of this, most change in the universe happens very slowly. Nothing big happens quickly in space. Mountains of stars form grain by grain. Galaxies take shape over billions of years. The universe prefers patience. This slowness is reassuring. It means nothing sudden is coming. Nothing is about to interrupt the quiet. Change unfolds so gradually that it feels almost like rest itself. Behind all of this lies a faint glow, a quiet cosmic background left over from the universe's earliest moments. Space still carries a soft echo of its beginning, like warmth lingering in a room long after a fire has gone out. This gentle glow fills all of space, barely noticeable, always present. The past rests softly inside the present, never fully gone, never loud. Even matter itself is calmer than it seems. At the smallest scales, atoms are mostly empty space. Solidity is largely an illusion. Tiny particles orbit wide gaps, like miniature solar systems with open rooms inside rooms. Even your body is spacious. Lightness hides inside what feels solid, creating more openness than weight. And through it all, forces tend to balance rather than collide. Hands meet softly. Opposing tides find stillness. Balance is more common than conflict. The universe prefers harmony, settling into stable arrangements whenever it can. Stability is the default state, and it holds quietly, without effort, inviting everything within it to rest. Silence in space is never complete. Even in the emptiest regions, there is faint energy, subtle motion, and quiet activity happening all the time. You might imagine a quiet room late at night where everything seems still, yet there's a distant hum you can't quite place. Or a dark field where insects move softly, alive but barely audible. Even emptiness has a soft presence. Nothingness isn't lonely. It's gently alive, filled with subtle movement that never asks for attention, never demands to be heard. At the smallest scales, the universe flickers. Tiny particles appear and fade constantly, popping into existence for brief moments before disappearing again. Some things exist only for a moment, like fireflies blinking in the dark or bubbles forming and popping on the surface of water. These brief appearances are not chaotic or violent. They're gentle, natural, and calm. Even short existence has meaning here. Nothing needs to last forever to be part of the quiet order of things. Behind these fleeting moments are simple, repeating rules. Physics follows patterns that return again and again, like waves on a shore or veins branching through leaves. The universe likes familiar rhythms. Patterns repeat softly, creating predictability and comfort. Repetition makes things feel safe. It tells the universe what to expect, and it allows everything to settle into motion without surprise or stress. These patterns often take the shape of spirals. The universe loves spirals. They appear in galaxies, storms, shells, and plants, repeating the same curve across vastly different scales. Slow whirlpools, curled leaves, turning galaxies, all following a familiar shape. Seeing the same form return again and again brings comfort. Familiar shapes remind us that the universe is consistent, no matter how large or small we look. Through all of this, time continues to move gently forward. Time prefers forward motion. Moments flow like sand through an hourglass or a river moving steadily toward the sea. They don't jump or reverse. Forward motion doesn't require effort. It simply happens, carrying everything along without asking permission. And within that flow, the present moment is almost nothing at all. Now is a razor-thin line of light between past and future, a breath between breaths. There's nothing to hold on to here, nothing to grasp, and that makes it perfect for sleep. When there's nothing to hold, you're free to let go. The moon is leaving, very politely. Each year, it drifts a few centimeters farther from Earth, like a balloon tugging softly on a string, or a friend taking slow steps back. This distance grows gently, without loss or urgency. Change doesn't have to feel like separation. Sometimes it's just a quiet adjustment, barely noticeable, unfolding over time too long to feel. As the moon drifts, it still speaks to the oceans below. The ocean listens to the moon, responding to its gravity with so steady tides. Water rises and falls like breathing, the chest of the planet lifting and settling again. The universe reaches into everyday calm here, connecting distant objects through gentle motion. Nothing is forced. Everything responds naturally. While the tides move, Earth itself spins smoothly and steadily. You are spinning right now, even if it doesn't feel like it. Motion can feel like rest when it's balanced and continuous, like a perfectly balanced top, or a slow carousel turning without wobble. Movement doesn't disturb peace when it's gentle enough. Because of this steady rotation, night arrives. Night is simply Earth turning away from the sun. Darkness arrives softly, like a lamp slowly dimming or a curtain being drawn. Night is not an ending. It's just a turn, a natural part of the cycle, bringing quiet instead of closure. Sleep fits into this rhythm perfectly. Rest follows daily cycles just like planetary motion. Lights fade one by one. Moons set. Bodies slow. You are allowed to power down. Sleep isn't a failure or a pause in living. It's participation in the universe, joining its cycles of motion and rest. And above it all, the stars remain distant and indifferent. Nothing up there expects anything from you. The stars don't notice us, and that's peaceful. Like distant campfires beyond a hill, they glow without watching, without judging. There is freedom in insignificance. You are free to rest, unnoticed, held quietly by the dark. You don't need to follow the numbers anymore. You don't need to remember which fact came before this one. It's okay if images overlap, if stars blur into oceans, if time feels loose and undefined. Your attention can soften now. Let it sink, the way your body sinks gently into the mattress beneath you. Warm, supported, safe. The universe continues calmly, whether we watch it or not. It turns and drifts and balances itself without effort. You can let the words pass through you or around you, or fade entirely. And as your thoughts slow, another quiet star seems to appear in the distance, inviting curiosity without asking for focus. Stars rarely travel alone. Many of them are likely surrounded by planets, quietly circling in steady paths. You might imagine lanterns glowing in the dark, with moths drifting gently around them, or campfires with unseen companions sitting just beyond the light. Most lights have something circling them. This companionship doesn't need closeness or conversation. It exists without noise, without interruption. Presence without demand. Even far apart, these worlds belong to their stars in calm, predictable ways. And beyond those familiar systems, there are countless planets that may never be seen. Most worlds remain unseen, hidden by distance, darkness, or time. The universe keeps many secrets quietly, like dark rooms in a vast house, or unopened letters resting on a shelf. There is no urgency to discover them all. Mystery here is gentle. Nothing is waiting to be revealed right now. It's enough to know that they exist, quietly and patiently, without needing attention. Some of these worlds wander alone. Not every planet belongs to a sun. Rogue planets drift through space without orbiting any star, moving freely through the dark. You can picture them like snowflakes falling alone, or boats without harbors, gliding calmly across a vast sea. This solitude isn't sad. It's simply another way of being. Space has room for wanderers. It doesn't demand that everything be anchored or claimed. Out there, space is cold, but not hostile. Cold doesn't mean cruel. It's more like a still winter night, calm and quiet beneath the stars. Stillness can feel sharp, but it's also peaceful. Distance and time soften everything. Without air to carry sound or storms, space remains mostly gentle, holding its cold in silence rather than aggression. Within that calm, stars shine because of balance. Stars are held together gently, existing through a steady equilibrium between gravity pulling inward and energy pressing outward. Balance makes light. You might imagine a held breath or a steady flame that neither flares nor fades. Even brilliance depends on calm. Light is not born from chaos, but from patience. And when stars reach the end of their long lives, many do so quietly. Not every ending is dramatic. Some stars slowly cool and dim, like campfires turning to embers or lights lowered gently at bedtime. Some lights simply rest. Endings can be soft, gradual, and peaceful, blending into the dark without disruption. Some stars spend trillions of years cooling. After stars, like our sun, finish their long, steady lives, they don't disappear suddenly. What remains is a white dwarf, a dense, glowing ember that cools extremely slowly over stretches of time far beyond imagination. You might picture warm stones losing their heat overnight, or embers glowing long after a fire has gone out. This cooling isn't decay, it's rest, a gradual settling into stillness, with no urgency and no drama. Even endings in the universe are allowed to take their time. Looking far ahead, many ideas about the future of the universe suggest something similar. The universe may grow quieter with age, not collapsing or tearing apart, but slowly becoming colder and calmer. Like a room after a gathering has ended, with lights turned off and the air completely still. Time doesn't end loudly. There's comfort in imagining a future defined by peace rather than catastrophe. A long, gentle quiet spreading outward. At these scales, time itself feels different. Seconds mean very little when changes take billions of years. Time loosens its grip in space. You might imagine a clock without hands, or shadows moving so slowly they seem frozen. Seconds dissolve into eras. There are no deadlines here, no schedules, no rush. Everything unfolds when it does, without pressure. Distance plays its part as well. Far away, nothing feels urgent. Events that might seem violent up close become softened by space, like thunder heard from far across a valley, or storms seen only as distant flashes of light. Distance turns chaos into calm. Perspective itself becomes a kind of peace, smoothing sharp edges until only quiet motion remains. When we look out into space, we are also looking back in time. Telescopes mostly see the past. Every deep image is a memory, light that began its journey long ago. Space is full of old light, like faded photographs drifting in the dark. These memories don't intrude. They rest gently in view, never demanding to be interpreted or understood. And when we trace those memories far enough back, we find that the early universe was surprisingly smooth. Calm came before complexity. Space was almost uniform, like still water before ripples form, or mist before shapes emerge. Stillness wasn't the result of order, it was the beginning of it. From quiet uniformity, everything else slowly grew. Everything came from something small. Tiny differences in that early smooth universe grew over immense time into stars, galaxies, and everything in between. Gentle differences shaped the cosmos, like faint wrinkles in fabric or small ripples expanding across water. Nothing arrived all at once. Vastness grew patiently from the smallest variations, reminding us that quiet beginnings can become something unimaginably large. Yet beneath all that growth, simplicity remained. Complexity rests on simplicity. A few basic rules give rise to endless forms, much like snowflakes, forming from simple patterns or tiles repeating into intricate designs. Few rules, endless outcomes. You don't need many thoughts to rest. The universe itself proves that richness doesn't require complexity at every level. Because of this, predictability is common in space. The universe keeps its promises. Many motions repeat reliably, like pendulums swinging or tides returning again and again. Most things repeat. There's comfort in that reliability. It allows systems to settle, minds to relax, and expectations to soften. When patterns return, nothing has to stay alert. These repeating motions form cycles, and cycles exist everywhere. Stars are born and fade. Planets orbit and return. Days turn into nights, and nights return to days. Everything comes back around. Cycles soften time, turning straight lines into gentle loops. There are no final endings here, only turns, pauses, and returns. Because of this, cosmic endings are rarely sudden. Most things don't stop, they slow. The universe prefers fading. Like music, lowering its volume or lights dimming gradually. Processes wind down without abruptness. Slow goodbyes invite calm. Nothing is taken away too quickly. Everything is given time to settle. And through all of this, the universe doesn't need an audience. Nothing waits to be watched. Snow falls at night, whether anyone sees it. Flowers bloom unseen. The universe continues quietly, doing what it has always done. There is permission here to stop paying attention, to rest, to let everything continue on its own. You may already be drifting in and out of sleep, and that's perfectly fine. Nothing needs to be held together anymore. Effort can soften completely now. Thoughts don't need to connect. They can come apart gently, like threads loosening. You might imagine floating, or slowly sinking, or being carried without direction. Everything feels slower here, safer, warmer. You are supported just as you are. There is no need to guide the experience. Sleep can arrive in waves, or not at all. Both are okay. The universe moves slowly around you, and the next quiet ideas will arrive on their own, without asking to be noticed. Space is never truly warm or cold. Even the emptiest regions have a faint, uniform temperature, a quiet chill that exists everywhere. You might imagine a cool night breeze that never changes, or a room that never quite warms or cools, remaining steady and calm. This consistency is soothing. Nothing fluctuates sharply. Nothing surprises. Space holds its temperature gently, reminding us that steadiness itself can feel like comfort. Within that calm temperature, energy continues its quiet work. Nothing truly disappears. Energy only changes shape, moving from one form to another, like a candle flame becoming smoke and warmth, or waves turning into ripples that spread outward. There is continuity here without effort. No loss, no sudden endings. Everything carries on, just differently than before. Matter itself is part of this flow. Matter is quiet energy, energy folded into stillness. What feels solid is simply motion held gently in place. Stillness can hold motion without strain. Light becomes structure. Movement becomes form. Power doesn't need to be loud to exist. Calm can contain immense strength. Because of this, existence is mostly stable. Change is rare. Stability is common. Most of the universe spends its time resting in long-lasting states, like stones settled on a riverbed or clouds holding their shape in the sky. Rest is the default. Nothing is constantly transforming. Most things are simply being. And where there is space, there is silence. Sound needs matter to travel, and space offers none. Silence belongs to space. Quiet is built in. You might picture snow-covered fields or muted rooms where sound fades away completely. Silence here isn't empty. It's comforting. It gives everything room to exist without interruption. Through all of this, observation is optional. Nothing needs watching. The universe continues whether or not anyone is paying attention. Night trains pass unseen. Tides move while everyone sleeps. You can rest now. Everything that needs to happen will happen on its own, gently and patiently, without you. Even gravity lets go. As objects move farther apart, the pull between them grows softer and softer, like a voice fading as it crosses an open field, or a gentle tug slowly loosening its grip. Distance softens every pull. Nothing holds too tightly forever. In the universe, closeness creates strength, and space creates ease. There is comfort in knowing that force itself relaxes with distance, allowing everything room to rest. Without strong gravity, floating becomes the natural state. Drifting requires no effort. Objects in space don't struggle to stay suspended. They simply glide. You might imagine leaves resting on water, or dust motes hanging in a beam of sunlight. Floating is default. There's no need to push or hold. Peace arrives when effort fades away. From drifting comes balance. Balance requires very little energy. Stable systems don't need constant input to stay together. Like a stone resting in a shallow dip or a ball settled at the bottom of a bowl, balance happens naturally once things find their place. Stability saves energy. You don't need to hold yourself together. The universe shows us that once balance is reached, rest follows easily. Within this calm balance, structures can form and last. Delicate doesn't mean temporary. Spider webs hold through morning dew. The rings of Saturn remain thin and light, yet enduring. Light things can last. Gentleness can be strong. The universe doesn't rely on heaviness alone. Sometimes, softness is what allows things to remain. As structures grow more intricate, they don't become chaotic. Complexity does not mean noise. Many parts can move calmly together, like a murmuration of birds flowing across the sky, or traffic moving smoothly late at night. Complexity can be quiet. Many thoughts don't have to be loud. Order can exist even when many elements are involved, and often order emerges on its own. It doesn't need instructions. Frost patterns form on windows. Sand shapes itself into ripples under water and wind. Patterns appear naturally, without planning or force. There is something deeply calming about this. You don't need to manage unfolding. You can trust it. Order will find its way. Out in the universe, there is no preferred direction. Up and down don't exist out there. Space has no ceiling and no floor, no top or bottom. Direction is optional. You might imagine a sphere with no orientation, drifting freely. Letting go of direction can feel like letting go of pressure. There's no need to know where is up. Everything simply exists. Because of this, motion becomes a matter of perspective. Stillness depends on where you sit. If you've ever been on a moving train, while another train slides past, you know how motion can feel uncertain. Motion is a point of view. You can feel still, even while moving. This relativity softens urgency. Nothing insists on being labeled fast or slow. There is also no absolute frame of rest. Everything moves together. Boats drifting side by side on a calm lake appear still to one another. Leaves carried by the same current don't feel motion between them. Rest is relative. Shared motion brings calm. When everything moves together, nothing feels left behind. All of this movement connects back to a shared beginning. Everything comes from the same origin. The elements that make up stars, planets, and bodies were formed through the same early processes. Threads from one loom, notes from one chord. Nothing is truly separate. Belonging doesn't require closeness. It's written into existence itself. Because of this shared origin, the universe recycles endlessly. Nothing is wasted. Matter moves through stars, planets, and space again and again, like water cycling through clouds and rivers, or leaves returning to soil. Material always returns. There is continuity here without urgency. Nothing needs to hurry to be useful, and through all of it, nothing happens all at once. The universe takes its time. Dawn arrives slowly. Ice melts gradually. Everything arrives when it's ready. Slowness is safety. You are never required to rush. Arrival can be gentle. Everything important unfolds in its own time. Sleep may already be arriving in waves, and that's okay. You don't have to follow anything now. Sounds can wash over you without meaning. Words can soften and blur. There's nothing to do, nothing to hold, nowhere to go. You might feel yourself sinking gently, or floating lightly, or being carried without direction. Let the body rest exactly as it is, safe, warm, supported. Thoughts don't need to connect. They can drift apart and fade. The night is doing the work for you, and as this quiet continues, the next ideas simply carry on, like distant stars glowing on their own. The universe began before memory, long before stories, names, or thoughts. It was already here, stretching, cooling, and settling into itself. You might imagine a book with countless blank pages before the first word was ever written, or a fire burning steadily long before anyone stopped to watch it. Stories arrived late. You don't need to remember anything to belong here. Memory isn't required. The universe has always existed without witnesses, carrying on patiently in the dark. Most of the universe happens quietly. Stars shine over sleeping worlds. Snow falls in empty fields. Vast changes unfold unseen and unnoticed. Nothing waits to be seen. Observation is optional. The universe doesn't pause for attention or speed up for applause. It continues gently, whether anyone is watching or not, and there is comfort in that steady independence. This quiet continuation is supported by patience built into physics itself. The laws that govern everything favor slow, stable outcomes. Dust settles. Water calms after ripples fade. Physics prefers patience. Rushing is unnatural at cosmic scales. You are allowed to slow down because everything else already has. Nothing important requires urgency. Over time, it's often the gentlest forces that shape the most lasting forms. Wind smooths stone. Tides soften shorelines. Soft forces last longer. Gentleness shapes worlds, not through pressure, but through persistence. Softness isn't weakness here. It's strength spread across time. At this very moment, almost everything in the universe is unchanging. Almost nothing is happening. Galaxies hold their shape. Stars maintain their balance. Stillness dominates. You might picture a quiet room at night, clocks ticking softly, nothing out of place. There is safety in this widespread stability. Because of this, rest mirrors the universe's default state. The universe spends more time resting than changing. Long pauses between notes, silence between waves. Rest is normal. Stillness comes first. By resting now, you're not stepping away from the universe. You're aligning with it. Nothing is running out of time. The universe has no deadline it's moving toward, no final moment waiting just ahead. You might imagine an endless horizon at dusk, where the light fades slowly but never truly ends, or a clock without numbers, ticking without urgency. The universe is not in a hurry. There is plenty of time, so much time that the idea of running out simply doesn't apply. This timelessness releases pressure. Nothing needs to be completed right now. Nothing is late. Within that openness, stillness is far more common than motion. Most things are resting. Most matter in the universe is not actively changing or moving in noticeable ways. Picture a quiet library late at night, or ships parked calmly in a dark harbor. Motion is the exception. Rest is the natural state. Activity appears briefly, then settles again, returning everything to calm. Between moments of change, silence stretches wide. Silence fills most of time. Events are separated by long pauses, like spaces between notes or rests between heartbeats. Sound is brief. Quiet lasts. Silence isn't empty. It's a place to rest, a wide, gentle space where nothing presses forward. And within that silence, darkness holds more than it hides. Darkness is not empty. It contains matter, energy, and quiet structure. Like soil holding seeds or velvet holding light, darkness supports what exists within it. Nothingness is full. Darkness becomes comfort rather than fear, a soft place where things can simply remain. Depth exists here without pressure. Vastness does not weigh down or crush. You can imagine falling into a dream or floating in endless open water without sinking. Depth doesn't press down. Vastness can feel light. Space supports rather than strains, holding everything gently in place. And in all of this, being here is enough. Nothing is asked of you. Existence doesn't require action, effort, or productivity. Like a lamp left on in a quiet room, or breathing that continues without thought, simply being is sufficient. You are already doing enough by existing. We share the same sky. No matter where you are on Earth, the stars appear calm and distant, shining in the same quiet way. The same moon hangs over different rooms, different streets, different lives. The night belongs to everyone. This creates a quiet connection, not through interaction, but through shared stillness. Separate lives under a single, patient sky. From that shared view comes perspective. Distance creates peaceful perspective. When things move farther away, their intensity softens. Cities, seen from airplanes, become patterns of light. Storms far offshore lose their threat, Far away feels calmer. Distance softens everything, allowing thoughts to drift outward until they no longer press so closely. Beneath all this calm, simple laws quietly guide everything. Few rules, endless calm. The universe is shaped by basic principles that repeat everywhere, like simple melodies forming entire songs. Simplicity holds everything together. You don't need many thoughts. The universe itself rests on very little. And even with these rules, certainty is rare, and that's okay. Much of the universe remains unknown. Paths fade into fog. Stars hide behind clouds. Not knowing is normal. Mystery is allowed. Questions don't need answers tonight. They can rest, just like everything else. Acceptance follows naturally from this. Acceptance requires no effort. Letting things be takes less energy than resisting them. Hands open. Waves settle. Letting go is lighter. Nothing needs fixing. Nothing needs adjusting. Ease replaces control. And finally, the universe is comfortable with silence. Silence is not a gap. It's a state. Like snowfall at night or a room after the lights go out, quiet feels complete on its own. Silence belongs here. You can rest inside it, without words, without movement, without needing anything more. Nothing is about to stop. There is no sign that the universe is rushing toward an ending or preparing for a sudden conclusion. You might imagine a long road stretching forward with no visible end, or a candle burning steadily in a quiet room, flame calm and unbothered. The universe is in no hurry to finish. The absence of urgency invites deep rest. When nothing is racing toward a deadline, there is room to soften, to breathe, to let time widen around you. From this sense of non-ending comes continuity. Things keep going on their own. Rivers flow through the night without supervision. Clocks tick softly without needing encouragement. Continuation requires no effort. Most physical processes simply persist unless something interrupts them. You don't have to keep yourself going right now. The universe is very good at continuing without help. Because of this, stability lasts longer than change. Calm weather stretches between storms. Flat water remains long after waves fade. Stability is the long story. Change is brief. Across time, calm dominates. The universe spends most of its existence settled, balanced, and untroubled. Transition happens, but it is the exception, not the rule. This is because patience is built into the universe by design. Physical laws favor slow accumulation over rapid shifts. Dust settles. Frost forms overnight. Slow is natural. Slowness acts like kindness, allowing systems to adjust without shock. Nothing important is forced. Everything arrives when it's ready. Over time, it is gentle processes that shape most outcomes. Erosion smooths stone. Tides soften beaches. Soft forces last longest. Gentle change wins because it endures. Nothing needs force tonight. Nothing needs pushing. The universe shows us that persistence doesn't require intensity. All of this makes rest a perfect fit. Rest matches the cosmos. Long pauses between notes. Empty stretches of night. Stillness belongs. When you rest, You are not stepping away from the universe. You are moving in rhythm with it. You are in sync simply by being still. Nothing is harmed when awareness fades. As attention drifts and sleep arrives, nothing is lost. Lights dim gradually. Music fades into silence. Nothing disappears when you stop noticing. Fading is safe. Awareness can loosen without consequence, easing gently into the background like a soft sound dissolving into quiet. Even as attention softens, the universe continues to hold you. Gravity remains steady. Space keeps its structure. You are still supported. Like a bed holding the body or ground resting beneath snow, nothing drops away when you stop paying attention. Support doesn't require effort or awareness. It simply remains. Because of this, safety does not require attention. Houses stand overnight. Bridges hold in darkness. Safety works in the dark. Nothing needs watching. Stability continues whether or not anyone is awake to observe it. There is complete permission here to sleep, to let vigilance rest. And finally, letting go is natural. Release is part of every cycle. Leaves fall when they're ready. Breath leaves the lungs without instruction. Letting go happens on its own. Release is built in. You don't need to try. You don't need to decide. Rest arrives the same way everything else does. Gently, when it's time. If you're still awake, it's okay if none of this feels clear. It's okay if you don't remember what came before or what followed after. Nothing here needed to be held or understood. The universe doesn't ask for comprehension. It simply continues, calmly and quietly, whether anyone is paying attention or not. Thank you for sharing this quiet moment, for letting yourself rest inside these slow ideas, even briefly. You didn't need to arrive anywhere. You didn't need to finish anything. Just being here was enough. Around you, the universe continues its steady rhythm. Stars hold their balance. Space keeps its distance. Time moves gently forward, without urgency, without demand. Everything that needs to be held is already held. Everything that needs to continue is already continuing. There's nothing to do now, nothing to hold. You can rest. You can drift. You can let the words fade and the silence grow a little wider. Imagine stars dimming slowly, not disappearing, just growing softer. Imagine the universe carrying on quietly as you sleep, unchanged by whether you notice it or not. You are safe. You are supported. And you can rest now, letting the night do what it does best, slowly, gently, without needing anything from you.